interesting show which promises to share stories of many inspiring speakers on board. I am Shavinder Kaur and I'm the brand ambassador of this platform E4G Talks, which is an ICT initiative, and I am here to showcase the talent of our speakers through this wonderful Power Pack Global Talk Show series. All our dreams can come true if we have courage to pursue them. Truly, that describes about our guest today. Please welcome Miss Raji Anand. She is a renowned jewelry designer. Hi,
Hello.
welcome to the show.
Hello, Shavinder. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So before we start our conversation, let me tell our viewers more about our guest. The jewelry making began an accidental love. It grew into a unique and compelling passion of Rajiana. RA design interests are global, reflecting the city that she inhabits and works in urban, culturally diverse, and infused with artistic inspiration. Based in Chennai, her designer jewelry fuses old world aesthetics with new world fashion, resulting in breathtaking, unique, wearable work of art. Well, I can see that one beautiful neck piece that you're already wearing.
Thank you.
Great, and I'm
Thank you so
actually
much.
eyeing that right now. So, Miss Anand herself has been featured in various very prestigious sari campaigns for Kanakavali. Raji Anand designs as a line of reconstructed contemporary jewelry designs, which are very unique and effortlessly reaches out to a discerning clientele world. Her reconstructed jewelry line is completely inspired by Twemple jewelry and are huge statement pieces, liked by celebs down south and the fashion conscious. She also does various range of jewelry which are seasonal and are quite unique in their constructions like neon, gypsy, boho, fibres, and filigree, to name a few. I am also wearing a filigree today, but of course not designed by Raji. Yeah,
Very
it's
soon we'll have one
very
on you.
yeah, great. So I'm in conversation with Ms. Raji Anand, and let's get started. So my first obvious question is, I really want to know your background and maybe your schooling, your parents. I know you're a Fauji kid. Would
Yeah.
like to know more about that.
To begin with, thank you so much. It's a true honor, very honestly, because I have done a lot of lives earlier and I've spoken about how proud I am to be from the Fauji background. So let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Raji Anand. I'm the daughter of an army officer. Um, I come from a very humble background, to be very honest. You know how secure we all are in the army, and that is exactly the way my parents also brought us up. But luckily, I think, given the taste of all the traveling included, I think we just sort of became the people we are thanks to that exposure. I'm also fortunate. I have three more sisters, I being the second out of the four. Um, my mother, I would say, is the backbone of our family, because how we are all used to these transferable jobs where our fathers are posted in places where the family cannot be with them. So it was solely on my mother to look after all four of us and bring us up. And being the 4G brats, I think at some point, all that naughtiness somewhere, I think, translates into your personality. And I think the choices one makes and we make in our lives, I think, has a deep impact from the beginning of the exposure we go through. And I think I will highly contribute that to my upbringing, my background of being in the army life completely. So that's about my family. I have extremely enterprising sisters. We're all spread out across the continent and within India. All of them are doing extremely well in the chosen lines they are, and we actually are a very music loving family. We at some point, I was very sure that I would do something in the line of music, but I think, like destiny had it, I came into the line of designing. I also did try twice through SSB to be a part of the Indian Army, but I think, like luck had it, it was written for me to be here. and I'm very happy and gladly settled in Chennai, very, very close from the OTA, pursuing my dream here.
Wonderful, wonderful. And in fact, somebody's loss was somebody's gain. And the fashion world is really happy to have you there, you know.
It's an
So
honor.
that's
I'm
really
glad.
great. Yeah. So could you just tell me, you started, how did this jewelry thing happen in your life? And, and your foray into design. I want to know in detail, actually.
Sure. So, Shavinder, actually, when I moved to Chennai in 2004, I had married and I had to move my base. My father retired and settled in Hyderabad. My family was there. And I moved to Chennai, which was quite a change for me because I had not been in any part of South through my dad's transfers. It was always up north and the other sides. So South, I mean Hyderabad is completely different. You speak people speak Hindi, so it's very easy for you to sort of survive there. For me to come to Chennai, it was quite a shock because people are quite particular about the language here. They're quite staunch, at least back then when I moved over here. So, although being a Tamil Telugu mix, it was quite difficult for me. The sound of the language was familiar, but I did not speak the language. And I had to sort of figure a way to work things around here. It's not like Hyderabad and Bangalore when you can get away by speaking anything. You need to know the language. It's very, very staunch here. I was completely lost. I had no idea of what to do. But luckily, I think the place just slowly started. I think I started warming up to Chennai, and I was not aware of what a diverse city I was in. It has, in fact, I think the most beautiful balance of modern and tradition is what my discovery of knowing the city happened. So, you are aware that South is famous for its temples and everything. And when I used to visit here with my parents, all I saw was temples. And then I saw this entire nightlife and a very social setup of people where it was a very modern setup with equally traditional setup in the same city, so beautifully coexisting together. Um, After having my daughter, I've always worked my entire life. I think after I finished my college, my mother was very particular that we were people who were looking after ourselves and always had a job. There was no sitting back and lazing and letting someone look after you. So it just seemed like a really long vacation after I got married and I had my daughter. It started itching and I knew that I had to start doing something soon. Motherhood was beautiful, but then I think the calling happened. I started my journey into design by actually doing very small things because my daughter was really young. I could not really get away much. But the travel bug was there within me thanks to the army. I could not stay, I
Absolutely.
can't stay in any place for 3 years. It's sort of become a part of me. So I would travel constantly to different cities, either to visit friends or regarding some work. And in one of those travels, I figured that people were looking at different kind of clothing, jewelry. It wasn't so socially active back then in terms of design field as such in Chennai. So I started procuring things from other designers and bringing them to Chennai and doing little pop-ups, trunk shows, pop-ups where I would exhibit them. We had a beautiful space of our own, so we would, have a lovely evening or a gathering, and people started coming and picking up things, and they sort of really enjoyed whatever I was putting up together, which was a great encouragement. And I felt that, if people are liking this, maybe I could try and put something of my own. That is where my making began. I customized the line of modern clothing with very traditional elements in it. It was, I was thinking of somebody like me. What would I wear over evening if I had to step out? Because that time things weren't really available for you to just go and pick off the rack. So that particular line clicked, and it just, I think it was the beginning of all things wonderful. And then I continued making these lovely line of clothes. I was exhibiting with some of the top boutiques of Chennai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. It did extremely well. But for a designer and a creative person, you always constantly craving to do more and exploring. After which I started doing other things in the same stream. I created a line of saris, which again, so my way of looking at things were not the regular, the normal. I wanted everything with a twist. You have to bring everything to your platform where nobody has done similar. So for me, even when I was, planning and executing these saris, designing them, I was thinking of what I could do that could bring the element of my being South Indian without it looking forced, without it looking, because the traditional things were already available in Chennai. So Chennai is known for its saris, for its silks, for its jewelry. I mean, go to every lane, you'll have stores around. So then I wanted to figure a brand, a USP of my own that could stand out different from the others. And also, you know um, how typically our parents once they come back to where they began their life from, suddenly they realize that the kids don't have any of the South sensibility in them. So there was a huge thing of my mother always wanting that out of us. She wanted to see the glimpse of that South side in us. I didn't know what to do because I couldn't suddenly wear saris or any traditional things. So I felt that I think incorporating that in my work would be a great idea. So I started doing these fabulous prints of South on my saris, on my scarves, on stoles, on dupattas, but in a very fun manner. So I got these set of award winner block printers, which I located. I designed these wonderful elements of like a Dabra coffee, glass of South, or a temple element of South, or an auto with a TN registration, columns of South. Columns are basically these patterns which are drawn outside every house in South, and there are various things attached to why it is drawn. So I came up with all those patterns, very unique and of South, on my garments, which just became a huge rage because it was the first time people were seeing something they were familiar with on a platform that was never seen or heard. So it just everything would be a sellout for me. I figured that okay, I've figured something right, and let's go in this direction. So this went on for a while, and so the journey of jewelry began when a lot of women would come up to me. When you're exhibiting or you're in a store or doing an exhibition of your clothing line, they would wonder what kind of jewelry to wear with it, because when you're wearing a fun, for example, if you're wearing a fun sari which is very modern and has a twist of its own, you can't really wear a kundan or a serious piece of jewelry. It takes away from it. And I always did pick up a lot of fun jewelry when I travel, because I personally like wearing nice jewelry myself, like bold, very strong statement pieces. People started asking me to sell what I was wearing. And of course, I could not. So I was suggested this by many women as they would approach me, that why don't you come up with something that would be easy for us to team up with your sari and blouses. We could, wear it along with the saris or the stoles or the pattas that we're buying from you, which seemed like a great idea. Since I wasn't a technical jewelry maker, I had absolutely no clue. It's easier to handle clothing, but it's not that easy to handle jewelry, because you have to have technical knowledge of how to put it together. So I started dabbling with elements that were easier, that I was familiar with. Say, I started making fabric jewelry, velvet fabric jewelry. I started using ropes, which were used for embroidery or other, things. Shells, sticks, bones, name it. I picked up all kinds of things, and since I did not know how to make a serious piece, and the unconventional material that I was working with, the pieces would obviously end up getting a a twist on its own when it was constructed. And where I started putting a few pieces at the exhibition, and the people absolutely loved it. I think for everybody, including me, I would say, whenever something new comes in the market, everybody's in awe of it. They want to wear it. They want to own that particular piece. So that was the beginning of my jewelry journey, and I don't think there's been a looking back for me in so many years. Jewelry just exploded that I had to sort of take a step back and stop the other things and concentrate alone on jewelry because of the high demand that was created in the market. So I would say yes, that is my foray into my
Great.
design and my jewelry. Yes,
Great. And actually, traveling inspire us in many ways.
absolutely,
And that's
absolutely,
how, yes, and that's how I'm sure, and your creativity was enhanced because of that. And
absolutely.
it's all, I was other day browsing your Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, what lovely designs,
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Amita. Thank you so much. Such
beautiful, beautiful. And I myself a Fauji kid and a Fauji wife, and and of course, South is a hub of huge talent when it comes to saris and jewelry. And you are adding that element which people must have not thought. They must have thought of contemporary and those traditional ones, So that really works in your favor by creating such different and unique designs. So I also wanted to know what were the challenges that you faced. Every journey has some challenge and makes us feel. At times we say, let's give it up. Let's leave it. I'm doing a wrong. I'm in a wrong place. I should be doing something else. So how did you manage those challenges? Dealing with that.
Um, Actually, I am a workaholic. So the only thing I ever knew was to always be on my feet and doing something. And to be very honest, I'm a very hands-on mother, very hands-on with my house. I'm very house proud. But after a point, I realized that all that was nice and fun, but then this is what I wanted to really do and pursue. So I think challenge for me was never my work. I think the challenge was to balance everything, because you have a child and you're responsible for that child. And for me, to be very honest, Shavinder, we all understand that it is very difficult when a parent has to, single-handedly sort of bring up their child, and that we've learned in the army. But here, for me to juggle between my house, my work, and bring up my kid, I think that was the biggest challenge, because I did want my presence to be there for her. I didn't want her to one day wake up and wonder where her mother was when she was growing up. So I had to really battle those challenges to figure how I would pursue what I really enjoy and love doing, and create a niche for myself. Um, and along with that, keep the home front also going equally well and balanced. So I think other than that, the work challenges usually manpower management, I think, is always the most difficult, as you must be aware.
Yeah.
You have carriers too, and when you're not yourself a technical person, for me, I forayed into designing just by fluke. It's just that I was, I think, fortunate and lucky to sort of have my sensibilities right. But then when you have a team of people, you have a set of people who you need to teach and get them to finish the product, because I definitely had a team of carriers working under me at that point. That becomes quite difficult, because since a technical designer would draw and would have a sketch, and they would follow that, and my pattern makings were very different. It was, everything was in here, so I had to translate that from here to the person who was sitting and probably embroidering something, or my jewelry person. Since our construction methods are quite different. Mine is a reconstructed line, as you would see, that
Yes.
is mentioned in bold in my line. I call it a reconstructed line because I don't create every element. I source out all the elements, I club them together, and then I construct them. So it's like you take a constructed piece, you deconstruct it, and then you reconstruct it. So that is, so between that, your karigars, your staff, everybody needs to figure out where you're coming from. They need to be at the level with you, because they're creative people as well. So they are not like regular staff members who just are allotted and assigned. So I had to sort of teach them my methods of working. But I think I was fortunate. I got a really good set of people, and work was wonderful. Going back to my little memory, I remember the reason I was a little more safer with clothes was, I think, when my dad was posted in Hyderabad. It was his last posting. As you're aware, the army is always trying to enable all the other ranks wives to, be on their own. So they are taught
Yes.
various skills, art, craft, stitching, and everything. And I was very interested in clothes at that time. And I'd asked and approached my father that if I could, utilize that. And he told me that you will not be given any perks. I can take permission, but if you're really interested, you have to find the way to the unit around the time the ladies are sitting, and you would be the last to be given the attention. But if you're interested, you're most welcome to go and go your way. So after school hours or on day offs, I would walk all the way to my dad's unit, sit down quietly, request them to teach me how to cut and sew and everything. And after the classes would be over, all the ladies would be dropped. Then I would be dropped at the end. So it was a very strict upbringing from my
Yes.
dad's side as well. And I think that is why somewhere it I think God has a plan somewhere. I think you don't realize when you're dabbling with things and how later in life it comes handy. So I always tell everybody, and I tell my daughter as well, that push and learn as much as you can when you're younger, because in terms of, even if it's a crisis or when it's a decision making, sometimes one of those things could really come in hand, and you could actually set up something beautiful for yourself. So other than just education, I think we all should definitely push for skills as much. So I think thanks to that particular episode of me going and learning, that was easier for me to start this whole garment thing. So I till date have the most fondest memory of that.
Absolutely. See, what I always feel, anything that exists now may not even exist after 5 years. But the only thing which will exist is the skill development.
Correct.
That will take you a long way. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and that is where we should not shy away by learning. And very rightly pointed by you. God gives us many opportunities. It's just that we have to convert it into something that will be to us.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There are no shortcuts in life, is what I have realized. It
Yes.
needs a lot of patience to build something of your own. Today, a lot of younger girls, a lot of younger brands actually write to me, and they often ask me, if they could work under me and they could learn. And I'm shy because I don't know really what I would end up teaching them, because I myself haven't learned. I mean, my ideas. If somebody sees, a lot of jewelers have approached and asked me, uh, you know, to sort of show them the way I construct, and they want my designs to be translated into precious. I said I don't know how I would ever be able to do it, because
Do
my
that.
my treatment of how I create a jewelry piece is the most absurd. So it sometimes it surprises the actual jewelers, like, how did you manage to, because they can't figure where I started from and where I ended. Well, I think God has just given me a wacky head and a brain, and I'm using it to the most.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I see this is, as we have already mentioned, it's a choose to challenge episode. And thank you for sharing such lovely, slices of your life's experience, which will definitely, inspire the viewers, because, these are the opportunities, these are the things, experiences which help us to perform better. So
Absolutely.
how did you diversify your business, and how did social media help you?
Actually, I'm not very technically savvy. I shouldn't say it, but I'm saying it. I used to use one of the social platforms as just a filter method for my jewelry, and somebody explained to me that I could also go on there and promote my brand. which I did, I think, a few years back. And I think thanks to social media, it just reached out to the global market so beautifully. Women across the continent have reached out to me, named the place, and I think I have sent jewelry over there. uh, just the exposure and the platform of social media made my brand completely explode there, and the demand for it was so crazy that I was retailing with various stores across South, very prestigious stores. But I had to slowly pull out of all and sell everything because the demand was just incredibly amazing. So then from there onwards, when you have these wonderful women coming and buying and they're repeatedly coming back, so you have to figure out designs after designs. And the source that I have, they're very limited. I use South Kemp. Now, South Kemp that I use, so Kemp is basically the maroon and the green dots that you see on, the
Okay.
temple jewelry pieces. Those are emeralds and rubies technically. And you get them in real, you get them in synthetic, you get them in mixed metals, all. So that particular element is called Kemp. And for me, when I wanted to, the same way I said like about garments, that I wanted to incorporate something of South, the similar way when I started jewelry, I I knew that I was sitting in a city where there was absolutely no dearth. I mean, people come to Chennai to buy gold and diamonds, and it's famous for that. So what is that I could
Exactly.
create that people would notice to begin with? And people can be very sensitive when it comes to certain things, especially when it's traditionally, depth
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our
Heritage
culture.
stuff is always yeah.
Yes, so the things that I use are conventionally used by dancers in performances. If you've seen, they're called Suryan and Chandran. They are typical pieces which are head ornaments which are worn on either sides by classical dancers. I use rakodi. A rakodi is, a headpiece that is used at the back when you do a jura bun or a ponytail. Again, very traditionally used over here. And avanki. Avanki is an armlet. You see women
Yes.
or children wearing it. So those were things which were always used in its own traditional form. For me, I picked those pieces and I just moved them everywhere. So I took the rakodi, I turned it into a pendant, I took a wanki, I made a necklace, I made a bracelet, I took the Suryan and Chandran, I made hairbands, I made finger rings. I'm, I mean, I just went the whole mile. And thanks to my mentor, who showed so much faith, because I was quite scared of this attempt. And with that little push, and when somebody believes in you, I think I created my first line of temple jewelry. And I took this beautiful space here where I exhibited. And I think my first and foremost fear was how would people receive it. It wasn't about selling,
Receive it.
because people can get offended. People can, their sensibilities and their emotions can be hurt as to why someone has taken something so traditional and given it a modern twist.
Yes.
So I was petrified the day I had exhibited my saris and my jewelry. And I think God has been so kind. I think the first lady who walked into my space was 75-year-old lady who walked up to me, and she took some time. She walked around, she looked at everything, and she walked up to me, and she spoke to me in Tamil. And she told me, she said, darling, I have lived my entire life in Chennai. I have grown up around this. And it is for the first time that I'm seeing someone give it a new lease of life. And what you've done with it, I'm blown. And I wish I was younger enough to wear it. But I don't, but also it isn't age defined. Anybody can wear it. But of course, she shied away. And her telling me that and walking out, I think just, gave me that surety that,
Confidence.
all right, I think I'm doing it all right and I'm fine. And I think I had the best people walk in that particular day and picked up my from the most renowned dancers to the top actors of South, the socialites, name it, and regular people, corporate women. everybody came. I was sold out at the end of the day, and the sense of happiness and the feeling that the fear with which I had gone in all settled for me, and I knew that okay, I'm going to be here for a while and a bit, and this is a journey that I would enjoy thoroughly. I think thanks to all those people who sort of and gave me that encouragement the first day.
It's so nice to hear your journey, and the way you're talking so smoothly, Brent. I'm sure a lot of hard work went behind it, and great. So we've almost come into the end section of the interview. I really want to continue talking with you, but I before we end, I really want to know what are your future plans.
I think like any other enterprising brand, I am right now present on social media. I was present in a lot of prestigious stores within India. It would be great to go globally into stores, physical stores where people can experience, the touch and feel of it. I'd like to create a lot of other sub brands along with the temple jewelry that I'm doing. I'd like to explore many other traditional elements of India from different states, and work with those, put it on a global platform for women across continents to be able to access, wear it, enjoy, and have a piece that would be a conversation starter that would make their eventful and feel that it was a great investment. So to reach out to all of them, I definitely am hoping to push boundaries and go global once the situation settles.
Great. And we at ICK really wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. And I'm sure you actually have long way to go with a lot of, things to be done in a manner, because I'm sure this is something that people want to see a lot more from Raji Anand, because they know there is a lot in store, which is still has to, decode it, and let's see the final thing. And thank you so much. Before we wind up, I really want you to share few tips for us viewers, maybe from people from your industry, the young budding artists. What is that they can, take away from this show?
I always tell all the younger brands that are coming up that, push, explore, think out of the box, and don't take shortcuts, because as glamorous as it all looks, there is, like you rightly said, Shavinder, it's a lot of hard work. You have to be patient. You have to have vision. You must have a plan in place. For somebody like me, of course, it started completely the other way, but halfway I realized I needed to have a plan. So it's very important. You could start with the smallest of funding, but if your ideas are great, don't hesitate to push them, and trust me, people would appreciate. There are takers for everything, so do not shy away. If you think you have an idea, put it out there, and the world is waiting to lap it up.
Thank you so much, and indeed, it's going to benefit our viewers. Well, there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. She is a dreamer, believer, and achiever. Thank you once again, Ms. Raji Anand, for being part of this interesting show and women's special series, Choose to Challenge. I wish you all the very best, and looking forward to see more beautiful, innovative, creative that you are, the designs on all social media. Thank you once again.
Thank you. The pleasure was completely mine. Thank you very, very much for having me.
If you wish to share your inspiring stories, please contact me at shavi@e4gtalks.com. I thank all our viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel E4G Talks. And don't forget to put your reviews in the comment section. For more interesting stories, please stay tuned. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind.
E4D Talks is brought to you by ISECI, Indian Ex-Defence Service Employees Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Thanks to its vast veteran network and global and pan-India associates, ISECI can carry out various commerce facilitations and CSR projects across India and the world. Some of ISECI's core capability areas are Skill India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, any ex-serviceman welfare or job program, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan related projects, telemedicine and healthcare training and job scheme, Save Water scheme, defence industry SME, MSME cluster and hub development, maritime training and inland water training with job facilitation, Canada study, job and permanent residency opportunity, e-commerce, Andaman and Nicobar commerce opportunities. ISECI's global reach includes countries like Indonesia, Slovakia, Canada, Nepal, Singapore, Rwanda, USA, UK. Above all, it is ISECI's effort to create a veterans brand made by the veterans, for the veterans and made up of the veterans. Every Indian's support is invaluable in this journey. ISECI is a registered society for ex-servicemen's welfare and envisions that every veteran should be a part of India's economic growth story. It is the aim of ISECI to create an enabling commerce platform that will empower and synergize the veterans' talent pool. This is possible only with the support of entrepreneurs, businesses and consultants from civil society. All proceeds, if any, are utilized for the welfare of ex-servicemen and for public charity.